Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the next update from my project Level Up, and I'm very excited to share with you my next update. I'm excited to share with you where I am with my current palette, which is my Subculture palette. That is the current level that I'm working on, and that is level 4. This has now been in for 2 months, and I'm gonna go through where I am with all the shades, if I hit any new pans and all of that. But before I jump into that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's jump into the video. So this project was created by me earlier this year. I have been doing this since January, and there's quite a few people who have joined in as well. So I will have everyone linked down below who I know is doing this project over here on YouTube. And I also created a playlist so you can binge watch everyone's projects if you decide to watch them all in one go. And that will also be linked down below. So basically this project is it consists of 5 different levels, or if you want to continue you can do more than 5, but I'm doing 5 levels, and I think most people are doing 5 levels. But each level corresponds to a certain amount of uses and pans in each palette. So for example, for level 1 you have to use every single shade once and hit 1 pan, and for level 2 you have to use every single shade twice and hit 2 pans, and so on. And how I'm doing it is that once you complete level 5 you can reset your project and start again at level 1, and that's just basically because at a higher level it will be more difficult to hit those goals and hit pan on that many eyeshadows and use all of them so much. So I wanted to give people an option to reset their project instead of just getting to a point when it wasn't fun anymore, because it would be too difficult to complete the level, if that makes sense. But like I said, I'm currently on level 4, and the palette I'm working on is my Subculture. So I'm going to insert a picture of where my palette was at the last update. And as I said, I already had it in for 1 month at that point. And so far in that month I had 1 new pan. I had a few pans already prior to introducing this to the project, but I did hit pan on Adorn. And again, that's what my palette looked like. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what my palette looks like now. This is where I am with the palette now. So you can see the close-up right here, and I'm just going to go through each shade in order and tell you how many times I used each shade. So for the first shade in the palette we had a Cube. I'm going to have up the pictures here because it's easier to show than me holding up the palette each time. So the first shade is Cube, and in the first month I used this twice, and I did use it additional 2 times to complete the usage of 4, so that is complete. Dawn I'm going to skip over because I used it 4 times in the first month and I did not use it again, so I did complete that goal as well. Next up we have Destiny. Destiny is this kind of beautiful army kind of green. It's beautiful to put in the crease if you use it very lightly, and that's how I used it. And I did use it the 4 times it needed in the past month, so I have completed this one as well. Adorn I had already hit pan on in the first month, like I said, and that took me 9 uses, and I have not used it since, so that is the shade Adorn. Moving on to All Star, I had 1 use on it prior, and I did use it the additional 3 times to hit my goal, so I did use it 4 times in total. Then we have Mercury, and similarly with this one I had 1 use on it prior, and now I have additionally 3 uses, so again I hit my goal of 4. And then finally on the top row we have the shade Axis, and again I used this one twice more for a total of 4 times in order to hit my goal of 4 uses. So the whole top row there is done, and I have hit my goal on every single shade there. So let me move on to the second row, which is a more exciting row. And the first shade in the second row is Roxy, and that is this shade right here. This was one of the shades that I wanted to focus on and hit pan, and as you can see I was able to hit pan on this eyeshadow, and it took me an additional 7 uses for a total of 15 to hit pan on it, and I'm very excited to have pan on that. And that means that I'm also up to 2 pans now for this palette so far, for my total of 4. So next to that we have the shade Electric, which is my favorite shade in the palette. I already had pan on this prior, but I did use it a total of 4 times altogether. I used it once in the first month and then 3 times in the past month, so that is completed as well. Next to that we have the shade Fudge, which is one that I have used 4 times as well. You can see there's a little bit of a dip in this eyeshadow. I did use it once in the first month and then 3 times now in the past month, and I really love this shade. It's a beautiful brown. I just was focusing on different things to pan on, but this was definitely one that I was considering to have as one of my focus eyeshadows. But since I'm panning my Modern Renaissance as my Pan That palette, that has a lot of neutrals in it, so I didn't want to pick this one just because it was going to overlap a little bit with that, although the tone is a bit different, but that's why I didn't go with Fudge. But I love this eyeshadow. Next to that we have the shade New Wave. Again, I already had pan on this, and I had used it once in the first month, but I did use it an additional 3 times for a total of 4. Next up we have the shade Untamed, and Untamed I already had pan on prior, so the pan isn't new, but I didn't use it at all in the first month, but I did use it a total of 4 times now in the past month, so I did hit my goal on this one as well. Then we have the final 2 shades in the palette, and these are those 2 shades right here. We have Edge and then Roxy, and as you can see I hit pan on both of these as well. Edge took me an additional 12 uses for a total of 16, and Rowdy took me an additional 8 uses for a total of 14. So all of the pans that I hit took around like 15 uses, like 14, 15, 16 uses, apart from Adorn, which went a little bit faster because it is a shimmer, but I did hit pan on those 2 eyeshadows, and that means that I have the last 2 pans that I need to be able to roll this one out. So I did hit both my usage goal and my pan goal for this palette, and I have therefore completed level 4. And again, this is a close-up of the palette so you can see what it looks like, and I'm really happy with how used this palette looks now. I have pan on almost the whole bottom row apart from Fudge, which is amazing. And in total now I have 9 pan out of 14, so again, amazing. This palette is relatively new. I mean, it's not that new now, it's a year and a half old in my collection. I got it on Black Friday, not last year but the year prior, so it's not the newest palette, but it's also not my oldest by any means, so I'm really happy that it's getting so much use already, and I really love this palette. It is more of an autumnal palette though, so I would have ideally wanted to roll this in later in the year, but I still enjoyed having it into this project, and I'm also happy to now have it rolled out. And we're gonna pick a new palette for level 5. So I do have my Tiny Decisions app right here with my eyeshadow palettes, and I'm a little bit nervous of what to roll because this is going to be level 5, so it's going to be a bit more difficult. You know, I need to hit 5 pans, which is quite a lot, and I also need to use every shade 5 times. So depending on what I get, it might be quite difficult, but I'm hoping to get something a bit easier, but I have no idea what I'm going to get, and that's why I'm a little bit nervous. But I'm not going to drag it out anymore because I'm also very excited to see what I get. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for my palette and we'll see what I get. Oh, okay, I'm very excited about this one. I was actually hoping to maybe roll one of my Beauty Bay palettes, and I got the Wilderness palette. It is a really nice palette. I was almost gonna incorporate this into my top palette for summer, but I decided that it's probably more like an autumnal palette, but it still has a lot of shades that I love in summer, so I'm very, very excited to roll this in. And also with Beauty Bay eyeshadows, they are a bit easier to hit pan on because the pans are very shallow, so hopefully it won't take too long to hit 5 pans. But I'm gonna get that palette and swatch it out and show you what it looks like. So I'm back, and here is my Wilderness palette. I am very, very excited to roll this in. It was actually one of the most kind of wanted palettes that I wanted to roll in, because first of all, this is not nearly enough used in my collection. I only used a couple of shades in here. I haven't even used every single shade, so it's a great palette to roll in. And again, the color story might be a little like bit more autumnal, especially like the bottom 2 rows, but the top 2 rows are still very summery, I would say, and I feel like this is a good palette to work on now, because I don't think I'll be able to roll this out in 1 month. So I don't know, maybe not even in 2 months, and hopefully by then maybe I want to do more autumnal looks, and then the bottom row will be really good. But yeah, it's a beautiful palette, and I'm just going to show you the swatches first, and then I'm going to talk about which shades I think I'm going to focus on. So here you have all of the swatches of the palette. I have swatches from top to bottom. It is a stunning palette. Look how beautiful that is. It's like almost like a rainbow palette, because you have like those reds, the greens, a little bit of yellow, the blues, a little bit of purple. It's beautiful. I really, really love this palette. And when it comes to things I want to focus on, I'm not gonna lie, I think I will hit pan on a lot of the shimmers in this palette because they are really easy to pan on, at least from my experience with Beauty Bay palettes. So the first 2 that I'm definitely gonna try to pan on is gonna be Ray, which is this one up here, as well as Lime, which is this one down here. Those are just 2 absolutely beautiful shades, and they used to scream my name. They're exactly the type of shades that I love. I might even try to pan on Fossil right here because it is more of a neutral shade, and those 3 shimmers I think I'm definitely going to try to pan on. Then the question is if I want to hit pan on another 2 shimmers or just want to try to go for some of the mattes. I think I might just play around with the palette and see what I feel like. I mean, I think Snow would be easy to hit pan on, which is this one right up here, because it's just like a blending out shade and I do use those regularly. I feel like, you know, like down here we have some oranges and stuff, and they might be easy to incorporate with my Panda palette because they are similar tones and not exactly the same, but they are similar tones. If I found that they overlap too much with my Pan palette, then, you know, it might be that I don't try to pan on those, and I might go for something different. Like this mustard is really pretty as well. I love this type of green right here. Yeah, I don't know, we'll see what I decide to go for. And also, like I said, the Beauty Bay palettes are really shallow when it comes to the pans, so it might even be that I use something 5 times and I have a really significant dip in it, and then I decide to pan on it after that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do with this palette. I'm so excited to roll this in. I can't wait to play around with this more and get some more use out of this. It's been a palette that I want to play with more anyway, so it's a great palette to roll in, especially for level 5, because I feel like this one will be one that it won't be too difficult to work with. And also, since I don't have any pans in it yet, I literally have any kind of option to, you know, roll in anything in here, so I don't really have to like keep in mind things that I already pan on. I literally can choose anything to pan on, which is amazing. So that is gonna be my level 5 palette I'm gonna roll in. I think with that I'm gonna wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Please make sure to check out everyone else who's doing this project. I know, like I said, there's quite a few who have now joined in, and they will all be linked down below, so make sure to check them out as well, because I love watching other people do this project, and yeah, it's just fun to see other people do it. So that is it for today. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys.